pretty happy with the progress I made. Okay, just did the orange-brown Vallejo on all these parts that I guess are leather. Looks like they're like leather pouches or something, as well as the seats over here. There's the Model Air black on all those black parts. And I just did the khaki and the flat red on that canvas curtain, I guess it is, in the middle, and then the red on the fire extinguisher. Okay, I got all that stuff unmasked. And I actually even started putting down some clear on some of this stuff to get ready for a wash. I realized I still have to do the inside of the Bombay doors to kind of match up with this stuff. And so here's everything for the cockpit. I also realize I have to do the crew and get them in there, especially up in the turret, as well as in the cockpit, before I can bring everything together. I mean, there is actually 6 crew. So that's the actual crew in the actual plane. So yeah, I'm going to try to model at least, 3 or 4 of those guys. And I'm also thinking through how I want to either hang this or display it. And I was toying with the idea of acrylic rod, because I'm thinking of how I would have the bombs, falling, and I thought fishing line, but then it would be shaky and stuff. And I have various sizes of this. I have pretty thin acrylic rod and maybe have them on there coming down. And then I thought, well, maybe I could just put it on a rod on a stand. And I have this tube, and this fits perfectly in there. And I could put this up inside, like behind the Bombay, or maybe in the Bombay, I'm not sure. And then this would fit, fit this into here. And then this would fit into here. And I just, set the model on there, and then the bombs would be on here. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm thinking, I'm always thinking things, trying to think ahead, and I'm thinking about this. We'll see if I go this way or just hang it. So just thought I'd mention, interestingly, this kit has these 3 extra pieces for the tail. And the kit instructions don't really even mention it. That's the tail that I'm working on. So those will go in the spares. All right, a few more colors down. I did the chrome silver on the centers of the propellers here, and then came back with the Mr. Color yellow on those tips, as well as the structure in here and the cockpit. And then back here you see this gun, the green on there. Did the green on, which will be the roof of the Bombay. Did the Bombay doors in the green, and then did in where those lights on the wings will go, down in here. Just been doing a little weathering on the stuff for the cockpit. First did a wash with the black in a lot of these parts. Let that dry, and then came back, and for instance on the engines I actually painted a little bit with the silver, and then dry brushed, and on a lot of the other ones then just, like this, just dry brushed the heck out of it to try to bring that. There's no decals for this, so yeah, just tried to bring those up. I may put a dab of white in each one. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this. Same thing here, just dry brush the heck out of it to try to bring those details out and, just make it look a little weathered. I believe I'm going to need to go back with the leather color. I think in the corner there, that's like bunched up canvas or leather or something. I think these are like leather straps to tie that curtain back, so I may touch those. So those 2 things need a little touching, but yeah, I think just dry brushing with the silver aged this a little bit, made it look better. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you, but hit that with the yellow, then the wash, then the dry brushing. Same thing up in here. So yeah, all these parts kind of got the same treatment. There's the finished propellers. And then on these fuselage halves up in the cockpit, Just took a little silver, dabbed it in here to highlight. I guess those would be dials or something, who knows. Just to give it a little accent and detail, and I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to come back with clear coat, and then I'll do a wash and stuff in there. I've done the Vallejo wash in most of these pieces for the interior, and now I'm starting to construct the cockpit, and I've scraped down those connection surfaces, sanded, this here and the bottom of this, so because I want to use the ultra thin on there and I want those to melt together. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming out. All right, there we go. Now the back and bottom are just taped together there, but I wanted to show this now because once it goes inside the plane, you're not going to see it again. Let me get some light over here. But yeah, I think that came out pretty good. Now, the bomb sight up front is just sticky tacked on there for now because in those two holes goes a gun. And I read or saw somewhere that when the gun's in there, and getting that nose cone on there can be tricky, so I'm going to wait on that. But everything else is either ultra thinned down or that back seat, I actually super glued it. And like I said, the back is just on there with tape for right now. But I figure I'll show it now because once it's in the plane, you're not going to see very much of it. So I gave this a coat of gloss, and now I'll do the same wash in there. Okay, continuing to move along here. This is taking way longer than I thought it would. There's a lot more detail than I thought, but that kind of makes sense because this is a 1:48. I'm used to doing 1:72, which are, smaller, more straightforward. Anyway, I have all of the glass in here now, and I have this weathered, and test fit that already. So really I have to get these figures right. So what I did is the one figure that was standing up, I actually took the legs off of this pilot and took his legs off. And so those are that pilot legs and then his torso, and then I cut his arm off, and because it was hanging down to the side, and I put it on those controls. And then the guy who I think is supposed to be the pilot, because this guy was just way too tall to be in that seat, he works better in that seat. I don't know, his hand may have to come off, or I may have to turn it somehow. And then this guy up here, I test fit that while the cockpit was still in the fuselage, and he was just too tall. I shaved him down on the bottom, and I actually cut his head off and took his neck out and put his head back on, kind of at an angle like he's scrunching down. And apparently that's what they had to do to crawl in there to both work the gun and the sight. And then here's his legs. After I get them painted out, these guys painted, I'll fit those in there. And again, that's where that gun goes. And this is where the bomb sight goes. So this is, it's really packed in there. So can't really do anything until I get these guys painted. And then again, this is the figure that goes inside the turret, and the turret has to come together. And then in the back gunner's position as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff to still do. These engines are complete. So I'm pretty happy with the way those came out. I think they look good. I think that top, it's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. So yeah, so those are done and, ready and waiting. And then the propellers are done, and, I'll bring all that together. Well, the propellers will probably be one of the last things I do. I'll put those on when I paint the outside. So, I pretty happy with all the progress I made, but still have a long way to go. And it's the weekend, and I want to get to the Eggplanes, so which are, you know, have to be done in the month of April, whereas I have till June for this. So I'm probably going to, you know, kind of work on both, but concentrate more on the Eggplanes. But yeah, now that I have those figures figured out, next thing I'll do is, you know, paint them and then start finally fitting everything together into the fuselage. So hope you found that interesting. And as always, thanks for watching and happy modeling.